What is going on, my Guardian Gamers? Is I, Birdman, back with another Destiny 2 build, and today I'm going to be showing off a really solid solar grenade build using the Ashen Wakes. They got a bit of a buff here in Season 23, so we want to talk a little bit about that, and also just show out, this whole new ability build with a bunch of abilities kind of nerfed in a way, but we're going to try to make it work as best as we humanly can. But before I get into the video, now you can follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at Birdman778. Give a thumbs up on this video. Comment down below whether it's about Titan, Hunter, or Warlock. Subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. We're almost to 10K, and whenever I do that, I'm going to be giving away a digital deluxe version of the final shape. So if you're listening to this right now, subscribe to the channel so we can hit that 10K, and then I will announce the giveaway stuff after that. And also consider becoming a member to get your name at the end of those videos. Now, let's jump right on into it. First and foremost, we got to talk about the exotic. That's going to be the Ashen Wake. Originally, just read fusion grenades gain increased throw speed, explode on impact, and final blows with fusion grenades grant grenade energy. Used to be like really solid all around, like never had a complaint. I've always been like a big proponent for the Ashen Wake. It's probably one of my favorite super solar builds in the game. But they decided to add on a little bit extra thing to it, and that's going to be now that the grenades can stun unstoppable champions, which honest to God is really freaking nice. Even though solar is a an unstoppable stunner with ignitions, I always have a really hard time getting those ignitions off and being able to do that. So having something where I can just chuck a grenade, it hits them, and they just instantly are stunned, and also especially this season get debuffed by it, is going to be really awesome. Now let's talk about the subclass and everything you're gonna need for that. First off, for your super, I've been going with burning them all. Okay, if you've been around my videos recently, you know that I've been a big proponent of the hammer of soul and doing that. I'm kind of going to burn them all. I kind of like just being able to smack a hammer down, smack it a few times, get a bunch of super damage on it, and just see how it goes. It's fun, it's interesting, and I don't know, it's kind of cool. When it comes to the abilities, I definitely recommend the throwing hammer for your charged melee. Now I know this did get a bit of a nerf. It has a 1.4 second cooldown on it now, which honest to God isn't that terrible, but it's definitely not great, especially when we used to have instant reactivation. I just don't get why they decided to hurt abilities so bad this season. It's really stupid, but that is a complaint for another day. Grenade wise, you obviously have to be using the fusion grenade to take advantage of this exotic. Nothing else will work for it. You have to use fusion grenade. Use the freaking fusion grenade. Aspects, Soul Invictus, definitely one of the most important ones. Solar ability final blows, which are those grenades. Hammer of Soul impacts and defeating scorched targets, create sunspots. Your ability regenerate faster when your super drains more solely while staying in a sunspot. Sunspots apply scorch, deal damage to targets inside. Entering a sunspot applies restoration. So this is like a huge backbone of this entire setup, because one, it's going to give us restoration. We love getting that. Getting those scorch on targets, so especially whenever we chuck a grenade and it hits a scorch target, they should instantly ignite, activating a bunch of ignitions and stuff like that, which will help out a different part of the build later down the road. But also is the fact that standing in those sunspots are going to help us get a lot more ability energy. Again, talking about how abilities got a pretty gnarly nerf this season, this is definitely something that is going to help you out. I think it's a big reason why they probably nerfed Soul Invictus, dropped the time on it down from 20 seconds to 12 seconds, but still very, very important to have. Also, Roaring Flames, really good one. Final blows with your solar abilities or ignitions increases the damage of your solar abilities, stacks 3 times. This is going to be your powered melee. Whether that is the hammer or your hand is on fire and you're doing those punches and stuff, or your grenades. So getting that extra damage is definitely beneficial. Fragment wise, I decided to do Ember of Torches. Those powered melee attacks can be radiant. Now I do know I get that kind of in our artifact this season, especially with getting those precision hits with solar weapons. But at the same time, I think this is an important one to have, especially for the fact that all I have to do is hit a target with my powered melee and then I become radiant. So great way to just keep that flow going. But I will say this is a bit of a flex one. You probably could swap it out for something like Ember of Resolve so that you're getting cure with every single one of your grenade final blows. Ember of Eruption, your solar ignitions have increased area of effect, making those grenades be even deadlier. We love them very much. It almost feels like a Severance Enclosure explosion at times, just because it's so freaking juicy. Ember of Empyrean, solar weapon or ability final blows extend the duration of restoration and radiant effects applied to you. So obviously this is really important, especially with, again, I'm emphasizing you need to be using a solar weapon for this setup, so you have a way to extend it with that, or even just getting those hammer or grenade final blows. And then finally, Ember power of blistering defeating targets with solar conditions grants grenade energy. Now, this is definitely a juicy one for our artifacts since we have an entire one that helps us get extra ignitions. I'll talk about that here in a minute, but know that again, especially once you get that whole artifact filled out, this is an important one to constantly keep up that grenade energy. Again, last time I'm going to mention it, in a world where abilities are been nerfed. When it comes to weapons, really nothing that crazy that you would do. I would say like this one, the Zolly's Bane. I really like it because I'm able to get Demolitionist on it, and it is a solar hand cannon. Kind of has two different champ ways of killing. It has Unstoppable Hand Cannon this season, or whenever you get Radiant, you can get Barrier as well. So kind of have a one or the other. Do note that you can only have one of those activate at a time. So if you have the Unstoppable mod on for hand cannon, you need to take it off so that you're able to take advantage of Barrier with this instead. So just a little note, just in case someone did not know that beforehand. But again, this one is just absolutely juicer. Being able to keep up that extra grenade energy is definitely really important. Little side note, I've also been using the Dragon's Breath a lot. It's just so nice. It's definitely a really great one, especially with those extra ignitions it adds. And again, on a build like this, it's very fun. Now, when it comes to all the armor and everything you're gonna be needing for this setup, first up, on the helmet, I definitely recommend Harmonic Siphon. You should be using a solar weapon with this, so this should be perfect. And Ashes to Assets is definitely very beneficial. Just so you can get that extra super energy. And then finally, I do it heavy ammo finder. I would say this is one that can be flexed out for another Ashes to Assets. But if you're someone like me, again, in a world where abilities are nerfed, I want to use my heavy a lot more now. So I think this is definitely a beneficial one. When it comes to our arms, this is another kind of flex one, firepower, just so that you're able to get extra orbs of power whenever you get grenade final blows. I will say that probably could be swapped out for another grenade kickstart. I got 2 of them on right now, so I'm getting that extra energy back whenever I throw my grenade, and I have armor charges. You should be able to generate a lot of armor charges with this setup, especially with the artifact we'll talk about here in a second. But again, definitely a beneficial one to have. Chest piece, I went with a double charged up to get the 5 stacks of armor charges, and then a concussive dampener. Definitely, again, one that you could probably swap out for a 6 charged up. But if you're looking for just a little bit of damage reduction, I'd say concussive dampener is nice. On our legs, I went with a stacks on stacks to take advantage of all those orbs of power so that they count as 2 rather than 1. Recuperation for a little bit of extra health, and an innervation for a little bit more grenade energy whenever I pick up orbs of power. And then finally on our Titan mark, a powerful attraction to pulling all those orbs, bomber so that I get more grenade energy whenever I activate my class ability near targets, and then a reaper so that whenever I activate my class ability, I get an orb of power after my next weapon kill. Now, when it comes to our artifact, again, when I mentioned before with the hand cannon, using Zolly's Bane, remember, if you are wanting to take advantage of Radiant, take off the mod for Unstoppable Hand Cannon. Again, you are already getting unstoppable from the grenades. You don't need this season with this build. A second column, Kindering Trigger. Radiant causes solar weapons to apply Scorch, definitely a beneficial one. And I definitely like From Whence You Came so that you are getting more damage taken and scoring combatants. Again, especially in Coil. Definitely recommend Coil. Play Coil. It is so much freaking fun. In the third column, a Flint Striker so that whenever we get those solar weapon precision hits or rapid final blows with it, we become Radiant. And then also a Wishing into Being. I think this one is absolutely huge, a very sleeper mod for the season. While your super is nearly fully charged, ability final blows spawn orbs of power. Wearing the seasonal armor obviously affects this a little bit, but again, having that just easy way of getting orbs and getting extra energy and everything like that is definitely beneficial. Fourth column for this build, Revitalizing Blast, definitely a huge one, causing damage with the solar ability, weakens champions and bosses for a short duration. Easy way to get weakening added into this setup. And when it comes to the fifth column, I definitely say Raise the Precision for the extra ignite whenever you get Radiant solar precision final blows. Great way to fill into that fragment that we have in our solar subclass to get that extra grenade energy, and then solo operative for the extra damage when we are playing solo. I always like to mention how this build is going to help out with endgame content. First off, for barrier champions, you have that easy way of getting Radiant throughout the setup, so I definitely recommend doing that. For unstoppable, again, your Ashen Wakes themselves are able to do that, but if for some reason you're going up against barrier and overload instead, you can swap back on that unstoppable mod for your hand cannon. And then finally for overload, I've been using the mod in the artifact for my Dragon's Breath to be able to take advantage of that. But do know again as well, just find whatever weapon that would fit for that and put it on. Thanks so much for watching the video. Hope you guys really enjoy it. Again, we are so close to 10K on the channel, so please subscribe if you haven't already and become a member. Like the video and comment down below something you're interested in seeing, whether it's Titan, Hunter, or Warlock. And follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at birdman778. Guys, thank you so much for all the support recently. You guys are amazing. Again, as soon as we hit 10K, we're going to be giving away some copies of the final shape, so make sure you're doing that. But until then, appreciate y'all. Have a great night, day, whatever it may be.